Is it not in the national interest to create tens of thousands of jobs here in America?
Stop the pipeline! Yes, we can!
What is the cost of a pipeline? That question lies at the heart of the Keystone XL pipeline debate raging in Washington. The cost in jobs if we don't build it.
This pipeline is important to our country.
The cost to the environment if we do build it.
It's essentially game over for the climate.
Keystone XL is a proposed 1,700-mile pipeline that would carry oil from Canada's oil sands in Alberta down through the middle of the U.S. and to refineries along the Gulf Coast of Texas. Pipeline operator TransCanada says the project would create up to 20,000 jobs in the U.S. At a time of more than 8% unemployment, the prospect of thousands of new jobs in America's heartland is a compelling one.
So what I can tell you is that when you're building a $7 billion, 1,700-mile pipeline across the entire breadth of the U.S., you're going to employ a lot of Americans.
But according to environmentalists against the pipeline, the jobs figures are a mirage.
On the jobs, the only study not funded by big oil projected that the pipeline would create as few as 50 jobs and at most 4,500 temporary jobs.
The State Department estimates that roughly 5,000 to 6,000 construction jobs would be created by Keystone XL. Not quite the jobs boom that TransCanada is promising, but larger than what environmentalists claim. Another area of major disagreement is over the environmental impact of the pipeline, and specifically spills.
What they're facing as the local residents isn't an economic boom. It's, potentially 50 leaks over the course of the project. And these aren't just like easy to clean up leaks. I mean, there was a similar spill on the Kalamazoo River 2 years ago that they're still cleaning up.
Pipelines are not new to the U.S. There are currently about 150,000 miles of oil pipelines spread throughout the country, employing 11,000 workers. And there have been leaks. According to the U.S. Department of Transportation, nearly 52,000 barrels of oil were lost from pipeline leaks in 2010 and 2011. One town has faced these arguments before, Cushing, Oklahoma. Home to about 8,000 people and 30 million barrels of oil, Cushing is a key connecting hub for existing oil pipelines and potentially Keystone XL.
The oil companies and the city have a really, really good working relationship, especially when it comes to our safety centers, our PD, police, our fire departments. The oil companies are really good to make for sure that we have the equipment, the manpower, and the training necessary to accommodate anything that would happen, whether a tank explosion, implosion, lines erupt or anything like that.
Local officials say all of these pipelines have brought economic stability and jobs to the area.
Yes, we do think it should be built. Understanding that to some degree the environmentalists do have a concern. I mean, we understand that, but that has to be built. We have to be less dependent on foreign oil.
Though TransCanada says the Keystone oil will be for the U.S. market, the truth is there is no guarantee where the oil will go once it leaves the refineries. Ultimately, it seems like the biggest issue environmentalists have with the pipeline is the source of this oil, not the transporting of it. Keystone XL's oil is mined from Canada's oil sands. According to a Canadian government report, this type of oil production emits nearly 2/3 more carbon dioxide than the conventional crude oil process.
Our greatest climatologist, Dr. James Hansen at NASA, did another report around the tar sands when Keystone was being proposed. And he ran the numbers and basically saw that if we fully burned all the tar sands oil that's up in Alberta, Canada, we would dramatically alter the composition of the atmosphere with carbon. And the problem with that is that's the main driver of global warming.
For now, the Keystone XL project remains in regulatory limbo. The Obama administration rejected the construction permit in January, but both TransCanada and its congressional supporters have vowed to push forward in 2012.
We are reapplying for the exact same project that we originally applied for, and that project received a final environmental impact statement from the State Department this summer that stated that there were no material environmental impacts expected along the route.
In New York, Jason Sanchez, CNN Money.